What happens when you ethnically cleanse dozens of Palestinian villages, destroy the local ecosystem, and then plant millions of non-native trees in their place? You're sowing the seeds of green colonialism and creating a weak ecosystem that's highly susceptible to wildfires. According to environmental experts, this is exactly what happened in Israel and parts of occupied Palestine after wildfires burned through over 2,500 hectares of land between April 30th and May 2nd. The rapid spread of the fires has been partly blamed on Israel's greenwashing strategies, particularly after it planted invasive tree species like the Aleppo pine. At the center of these seedy strategies is the Jewish National Fund. Established in 1901 as a private organization, the JNF is funded primarily by donations from Jewish communities around the world.
The original mission of this fund was to purchase land in Palestine for exclusive Jewish ownership and use. Once land was purchased from Arabs, it could never be sold or leased to non-Jews.
Today, the JNF controls approximately 13% of Palestinian land and oversees afforestation on behalf of Israel.
The green forests we have become so used to seeing everywhere in Israel have not always been here. Most of the forests we like to picnic in on weekends and holidays are actually forests planted by man.
The JNF boasts that it planted over 250 million trees since 1901 until today and created over 280 forests. But afforestation projects came at the expense of entire Palestinian communities who were permanently displaced from their land. The fund's activities were and are still being spun through public relations campaigns as environmentalism.
They say that they are making the desert bloom. That's what they claim. The JNF forests are planted over 86 depopulated Palestinian villages.
Their most common choice of tree is the Aleppo pine, which, despite its name, is not native to Syria or any part of the Levant.
They have introduced foreign trees, which is a kind of pine that grows very rapidly and it covers huge areas, and they have done that in order to cover the ruins of Palestinian villages which they destroyed.
The fast-growing Aleppo pine created striking results in no time, perfect for impressing the fund's foreign donors. The coniferous trees were also planted to make illegal settlers arriving from Europe feel more at home, as the pines resembled the forests of Central and Eastern Europe. The JNF also replaced native fruit-bearing trees that were primary sources of income for agricultural Palestinian communities.
This deliberate replacement forms a part of a broader Israeli strategy of weaponizing food systems to dispossess and control.
Although the planting of Aleppo pines were meant to serve the state of Israel, they are proving to be detrimental to the ecosystem, especially when it comes to wildfires.
The pine needles, they acidify the soil over time because they drop. This makes it hostile to many native plants and they decrease the soil fertility. It alters the biodiversity of the system. These needles are resin-rich and they are very flammable. They create a thick layer which helps a rapid accumulation of dry litter. You can very easily ignite them as if you have put petroleum there.
Unlike these pines, indigenous trees that had existed in the region for thousands of years didn't consume vast amounts of water. Instead, they enriched the ecosystem and fertilized the soil. And they were resilient to arid conditions, wildfires, and pests in general.
Some trees, for example olive trees, if they are burned, they have the capacity to regrow again. But these trees, rejuvenation is very, very, very difficult.
By planting monoculture pine forests, the JNF also created vast environments vulnerable to pests and diseases. A single pest outbreak or fungal infection can decimate entire forests when all its trees are of the same species. So why did the JNF plant non-native trees?
They did not really know the ecology of the area, you see, and they wanted something different from what the Palestinians have planted. If they had left that, the Palestinians will come back and say, this is my orchard, this is the tree I have planted, this is my home, this is my land, this is my farm, etc., etc.
Despite Israel's attempts at trying to wipe out any trace of indigenous Palestinians, the land never forgets the hands that protected it and cultivated it.
These trees, as I told you, they were planted to erase Palestinian presence, ended up doing the opposite. When they burned, they disclosed what they were hiding, which are the demolished Palestinian villages and the terracing. For example, the wildfires that swept through the hills of Jerusalem in 2021, only 4 years ago, it consumed 25 million square meters of dense pine forests. This area, when it was burned, it revealed a long-buried landscape of terraced slopes, which was shaped by generations of Palestinian farmers. What the forests tried to hide, the fire exposed. In burning, they reminded the world that not only Palestinians existed, but that they worked hard to cultivate the land and make it bear fruit to its people.